Looking to be more productive and jump those hurdles of change and challenge easier? You've come to the right place. Welcome to Thrive in Life with your hosts, Zaheen, Nanji.
I feel recorded.
Yes. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Thrive in Life show. I'm your host, Zaheen Nanji. My guest was just making me laugh here because he's so funny. But this is the show where we help you on how to embrace change, bounce back, and flex your attitude. This is episode number 30, and it's all about how to cope with anxiety and even maybe overcome it. So my guest today is Mark Shepard, and I'm going to read you his bio here. He is known as America's hottest hypnotist.
Hottest? No, it's honest hypnotist, not hottest. But
hot. See? I just think it's so hot.
I'm going to change it from now on, Zaheen. I like the way you put it better. America's hottest hypnotist. Ladies, easy. Slow down. Okay.
Okay, honestly.
I'm blushing.
Me too. Okay, let's start again. America's honest hypnotist, because one day he got fed up with myths about hypnosis in the media and all this hypnotist stage shows. He became interested in hypnosis for one reason, and that is because he was miserable in his life, and he found that nothing actually worked except for hypnosis. He was sick and tired of being sick and tired.
I know. I hate that.
Anxiety and depression overtook his life, and he wanted to get back on track. But guess what? He had no health insurance. So he couldn't access drugs, which I think is a good thing because they handed out like candy. And so he had to find a way to take responsibility and make change in his own life. And he began to work with himself. So Mark, welcome to the Thrive in Life show.
I like that guy. I'm impressed. I want to hear what he has to say. Wow.
So first of all, you know what? I think the viewers and the listeners would be very appreciative of the fact that that you have gone through this and you didn't go on drugs. And that's the one thing when you go to the doctor, they're like, oh, here are some drugs. Now, you're in the States and I'm in Canada, and we have a public health system here. So, hey, we get access pretty quickly.
I've been threatening to defect to Canada for years now. I love Canadians.
Yes.
My daughter-in-law is a Canadian.
Oh, okay. So there you go. So tell us where you are at that point in your life, and what did you try, and what worked, what did not work?
Well, I was a mess, I think, on a lot of different levels. First of all, I was one of those hypersensitive kids as a little kid, and the family story that kind of reinforced that is, oh, Mark, you cried so much as a little kid that they wouldn't let you into nursery school, right? I had separation anxiety. We would dial that in today. And I was just one of those kids that if a grown-up looked at me funny, I would burst into tears. I mean, very high-strung. Probably today I would be somewhere on some Asperger's spectrum or some kind of spectrum for weirdness.
Okay.
This stuff hurt. Everything hurt me. It was like, I've heard people talk about the analogy of burn victims and having no skin, essentially, and going through life like that. I think Don Miguel Ruiz wrote a book called something about love, the art of love or something. And he used an analogy of these two people from this planet where nobody had any skin, and they want to touch each other, but every time they touch each other, they hurt each other because they don't have skin. I was like that. And then kind of along with that, I was sick a lot, right? Because even as a little kid, little things would upset me, and that would affect my immune system. So I took a lot of antibiotics, and that messed up my digestive system. So by the time I was an adult, I had all this talent as a songwriter and all this ability to write these amazing songs, but I had no energy. I mean, staying up late to do a gig was like impossible. And I just felt like I was walking through life dragging chains. So I was sick physically, even though I'd go to the doctor and they couldn't find anything wrong with me. Oh, you seem healthy. I was eating healthy whole grains, right? And essentially I was allergic to wheat and healthy whole grains.
Okay.
And it took me years and years and years to figure that out. And at the same time, I was so depressed because I had no energy that it's just like this vicious circle. I couldn't do what I really wanted to do because I didn't have the energy, and that made me depressed. So I would actually eat more carbs, more cookies, more wheat, more potatoes, and that sapped my energy even more. It was a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And I started going to these therapists, and they just wanted to talk. They wanted to talk, and it was $75 an hour out of my pocket. So it was like, okay, this is not, I don't have enough money. I was broke at the time. I had done all this crazy stuff to try to make money so I could pay to record my music. And I was in deep financial doo-doo. I had bought 4 houses for nothing down at the top of the 1980s real estate bubble, and it burst.
Oh.
And I was left upside down with 4 houses, 3 little kids under, the age of 10, 12. And it was just like, there were times when I just literally wanted to drive my car into a wall so that my insurance would pay, because I checked the clause. The suicide clause had expired. So even if I killed myself, there'd be money for my kids, right?
Yeah.
And so this was like, I was a mess, and I went to like 3 different talk therapists, and my wife basically, it was very clear it was me. It was my problem, right? She had nothing to do with it. So I was the one that was going, and it wasn't getting better. And I ended up finding a brochure for a Barbara Brennan energy healer, and I'd seen a book by her. And I was like, maybe this would help, because it was like so airy-fairy, weird, and out of the box. But this lady was a NASA physicist. So I started studying energy healing. And I did that for like 5 years, and eventually everything just fell apart.
Oh.
I lost the 4 houses to foreclosure. We declared bankruptcy, and ultimately I found myself doing kids music for a living and actually making a living as a musician, but I still had no energy. I would do a program and I would literally need a nap. And I was sleeping 10 hours a day. And finally I met this woman, and I just saw her last weekend. It was so weird. I met this woman at a school that I was performing at, and she was an herbalist and energy healer as well. But I had worked on the energy piece, but not my diet. And she like held this pendulum in my field and figured out this brilliant thing that's like, dude, you need to stop eating carbs, And within 2 weeks of not eating wheat and potatoes and cookies, I still made ice cream. I didn't give that up for many years, but I felt great.
Yeah.
And when I stay to that diet, I have great energy. And, so I've been working on that. But along the lines, I really studied with her a lot, but I started to doubt that the energy work was anything other than hypnosis. And I started to wonder whether hypnosis was actually energy work. What if they were actually the same thing, because our thoughts are energy, and how we interact with ourselves is our energetic process of perceiving, right? And food, what's that? That's energy, and that's in some ways how your body is hypnotized into whatever state or form it's taking, right? So for me, I began to see that everything was kind of connected, and concurrently I started doing more storytelling with my kids' songs at schools, and kids were like going, they were like mesmerized by these stories, and kind of all this stuff was happening at once. And I discovered a school of hypnosis, Milton Erickson school, where this dude would literally just tell people stories, never tell them he was actually doing hypnosis. He would just tell them stories and they would change. And so there was a bunch of these different things. And one of these energy healers, the one that helped me get my diet correct, at one point I had this pain in my neck. It was just like something was stabbing there. And she goes, "Oh, that's a spear your ex-wife just threw at you." I'm like,
Oh, wow.
Right. My ex-wife is the nicest person. You know, I just feel bad for her that she married me because I was an idiot and I didn't know how to be a good husband. So, but my healer friend just pulls that out and it was gone. I mean, it literally, boom. And that was when I made the connection. Is hypnosis energy healing, or is energy healing hypnosis, or are they literally kind of the same thing?
Which I guess, leads me to my next question, which I'm sure a lot of the listeners and viewers would be asking is, well, what is hypnosis?
Ooh, I love that question. What is hypnosis? Essentially, there is no such thing as hypnosis. I can't tell you to make a change that you don't want to make and have you make that change. You're not going to make any change that you don't want to make.
Mm.
Whatever I say, you may think I made you make the change, but ultimately, you're the one that made the change. Does that make sense? Because really hypnosis is following directions, and it's how your conscious mind communicates with your unconscious mind to actually get the results that your conscious mind wants. Mm-hmm. So, I can say to you, hey, don't forget your keys. Or I can say, hey, remember your keys. Mm-hmm. Your unconscious mind can't process a negative. So if I tell you to don't forget your keys, I just literally told you to forget your keys. If I tell you don't screw up that sales call, I've just told you you're going to screw up that sales call. So it's learning the language of your unconscious mind, how your unconscious mind actually perceives, which is very different from how your conscious mind communicates. Because your conscious mind can handle negatives all you want. Don't do that, right? Yeah. Oh, okay, I get it. Don't do it. But your unconscious mind hears do it. It's like a Labrador retriever, right? Don't stay? No, you would say, come. You would never say to your dog, don't stay.
Yeah. Or something like don't be late would be, I will be on time.
Yeah. Right. And then now if you understand your unconscious mind a little more, you can add a why question. Why am I on time? Why do I remember that I have an interview with Zaheen at noon?
Yes.
My time. And the why question hooks your unconscious mind. It cannot not answer that. But most people ask bad questions. They ask, why does this bad thing always happen to me? Why does anxiety always happen to me? Oh, you just hypnotized yourself, A, to be a victim, and B, to keep going with the pattern. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Hypnosis is really how we run our mind. It's personal mind mastery. And it's also learning how the media is constantly trying to hypnotize us to buy stuff and to be anxious about how we look, our weight, our breath, that our car is older than our neighbors, or that we don't have the latest iPhone or whatever it is. We are being hypnotized all the time. That doesn't mean anyone is manipulating us. We want to be hypnotized. We want someone to tell us what to do, right?
Right. So if you are, saying those things to your unconscious mind, then you're almost also sending messages to yourself again, like a loop, right? That, okay, this is how it's going to change. So is that how you help people? I mean, of course, you do help people with overcoming anxiety. First of all, let's go back to your story, that when you figured this connection, how did you start to use hypnosis to change your belief systems to get yourself out of anxiety?
I love this question. Can I answer this question? Oh boy. I'd left my family. I'd actually moved in with this woman who had healed me or guided me in my diet, and began to study intensely with her. And eventually I realized I had to move on from her teaching as well. And I had never lived alone. I was 38 at this time when I moved into a huge apartment building in Manchester, Connecticut. I had never lived alone. This is the first time, and I was convinced. I had literally a belief that, first of all, I was going to die, Because when I was a little kid, my mom scared the hell out of me because I threatened to run away one day, and she painted this picture of, you know, the monsters outside, and you'd be starving at night alone on the side of the road and all this horrible stuff. And so, like, literally my body was freaking out. And I moved into my own apartment, and it was cool. And all of a sudden I was still alive. But then I didn't know how to make friends. I didn't know how to build my own community. My ex-wife had always been the one who made the friends. I just, you know, I'm a massive introvert, you know, I just kind of learned.
Oh, really? I don't think so.
Friendly. But I didn't know how to talk to people, in particular attractive women. I was so terrified of their rejection or being creepy or being weird, and I didn't know how to even strike up a conversation. So I was living totally and completely in solitude and doing school performances and storytelling during the days and just doing my secretarial work at night, and just, I was exhausted and lonely. And I went to the self-help section of this bookstore, Borders Books, it used to be called. People don't even remember it now, it's gone. And there was a book that said Changing Belief Systems with NLP. And I opened it, and it was like stuff you could actually do to change a belief. Every other self-help book had said, oh, you need to change your beliefs about blah, blah, blah. But they never said, how do you do that? Yeah. They just say, change your beliefs. Oh, okay. Yeah. How do you change your beliefs? So NLP is really hypnosis on turbo boosters. It's it's still hypnosis. It's authoritarian, you know, present moment, active, wide awake hypnosis.
So for the viewers and listeners, if they don't know what NLP means, it's neuro-linguistic programming.
Yep. And there are a few rogue practitioners who like the word processing rather than programming, because it's neuro-linguistic. For me, it's how we process the world, and we don't go around programming people, you know.
No, I know, yeah.
Some of NLP, like, people are like, oh, I don't want to be programmed, or hypnosis, like, oh, are you going to make me quack like a duck?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like that. But for me, it's the process of how we do what we do to get what we've been getting.
Right.
And once we know what that process is, we can change it. So for me, this technique was to find where your true belief, your negative belief was. And for me, it was like right here. I am shy. I had a picture of myself just being kind of shy. Couldn't look at people.
Yeah.
The attractive women. So my belief that I was shy was here. I literally felt it in my energy field and on what I call the mental movie screen. And my old belief, I found where I keep my old beliefs down to my lower left corner. Small and dim. And so I took this limiting belief that I'm shy, moved it down to where I hold my old beliefs. I used to be shy, right? And I adjusted the size of the picture and the dimness and the light, and I shrank it down and pushed it to that spot. And then I noticed right up above me was the desired belief, I can make friends with anybody, drop me by airplane anywhere in the world, whether I know the language or not. I can hang out and have friends within a matter of minutes, hours, or days in a new community anywhere. Boom. And I had a visual of that, of a line of amazing, interesting people who wanted to get to know me and vice versa. And I pulled that down, boom, and put it where my true beliefs are. That was it.
Oh.
And I'm reading in a book. And so I was like, I got to get this book. So I took the book home, and literally almost the next thing that happened, the doorbell rang, and it was the UPS guy making a delivery to my apartment. But it's such a big place, he would make a ton of deliveries all at the same time. And so he would just ring everybody's doorbell, and this whole crowd gathered to get our crap from UPS, right? And there was a gorgeous young woman there, and I just, hey, how you doing? What are you getting? It's kind of like Christmas. What do you think? And I was like, my real me, which is, this is me. I'm funny. I'm obnoxious. I'm silly. I don't really care what people think, and I can make all kinds of funny faces. I'm a professional storyteller. I can entertain children for hours, right?
Right.
This is who I really am, but I couldn't access that. And all of a sudden, just moving some pictures around.
Yeah.
Like, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is that? That's hypnosis.
Right.
I changed how I do a process of being shy. And now I've installed a new process and a new belief that I'm friendly and people like me and I like people. And even though I'm an introvert, I can still hang out and enjoy people. And I may need time off later to recover, but it's all cool. New belief.
Mm-hmm.
And from that moment, I started making friends in the building, the people across the hall. And there was a young couple 2 doors down, and I said hi to her in the elevator, and she saw all my drums and crap, and she says, "What do you do?" "I'm a storyteller." She worked for the Parks and Rec. She actually hired me, right?
Wow.
You know? And we stayed in touch for years, even after I left that area. So for me, it was just this simple thing. I was like, okay, I have to learn absolutely everything there is to learn about this thing, because it actually got me results. I changed something like that.
Yes.
It's not a miracle. It's just I changed how I processed a particular pattern of my behavior. Woo.
You know, Mark, I truly believe that, because I took NLP as well back in 2009 up to 2012 there. And I would say it's in those years that I found massive change occurring in my life. And all the beliefs that I had about me not being able to speak properly and things like that just started to disappear. And my fears too. So I know where you're coming from, but I wanted the listeners and viewers to really understand how you got out of that. Now, I understand that you're helping other people as well overcome anxiety and depression.
Yeah, I've been working with clients now since 2003, and I've kind of, the line sometimes between my storytelling and my therapeutic practice has kind of overlapped. I'm actually doing programs with middle and high school kids at this point, called Bullying Prevention Now. I have a program called the Bully Proof Teen. I can do the Bully Proof Kid for younger audiences. And essentially, what I'm doing is teaching some of the basic anxiety crushers that I've developed over the years, because working with clients who had anxiety, they were like, "Oh yeah, and I was bullied as a kid." And ultimately, it was the anxiety about dealing with that conflict and the adversarial experience that was part of the anxiety process. And I noticed that when I applied the anxiety relief tools and techniques, or taught them to kids or teenagers or athletes who were having performance anxiety, they were able to really rapidly let go of the pattern. Because you think about it, anxiety is not a disease. It's thinking about what you do not want to have happen on your mental movie screen, brightly, vividly, maybe IMAX size, and running that loop over and over again. And your unconscious mind does not know that that is not real.
Yes.
If holding a belief here causes you to be shy, then holding a horrible situation that tells you the world is horrible and out to get you and you're never going to make it there will do the same thing. But it's energy. It's a form that we're holding. So when we actually imagine something good happening in the future, we can't have both pictures at once. Right?
Yeah. And it's hitting your head against the wall.
Right. So anxiety is the process of you freaking yourself out about what you don't want to have happen in the future.
Which hasn't even happened yet.
Right. It's not real, but it's real to your neurology.
Yes.
So when you take charge of that, it changes your neurology.
Yeah.
Right?
So share with us then a couple of tips that have helped your clients overcome anxiety. What would be some of the things that you could share with our viewers and listeners?
The very first thing is the breath. I recommend breathing up the backs of your legs, up your spine, over the top of your head, swirling the breath in front of your forehead. So that's kind of like a count of 5. You're not crazy, but I want you to imagine the breath swirling around in front of your forehead, and then you release down the front of your body and swirl the absence of breath in front of your toes, and then come back up. So you're literally making a circle. And then we add to that, if you're standing, to keep your knees a little bent, and imagine grounding into the earth like you have roots. And then from those roots, with the next breath in, breathing that in. This will help to ground you and calm you. The problem with fear is that when you get afraid, you go into fight or flight, and it pulls all of the oxygen and blood from your thinking, logical mind. So you go into reactive. Reactive doesn't think, doesn't evaluate, it just reacts. So by staying grounded and oxygenating our brains, we can actually stay present, so that then we can choose to be more resourceful, and we can ask ourselves a powerful why question, like, why does this work out better than I can possibly imagine? So for me, even today, almost every day, there's something that shows up, and the old pattern was to react to it. Now I take a breath, swirl it, release, ground in, and ask myself, why does this work out better than I could possibly imagine? That's like literally I've trained myself to make that the first question that I ask. And that's the auditory version of imagining here on the mental movie screen, everything working out better than I could possibly imagine, right? So I know that by staying in the breath, staying in my body, not, freaking out and going out of my body in fear, I can actually respond and change the pattern. So for me, that's one of the first things I teach my anxiety clients.
I think this would be really good even with anger management, right?
So that's why I'm using it in my bullying prevention program, because if we can get both, the kid who's the target to breathe and get grounded and respond in a different way to the instigator, we can actually save a lot of lives, because it's the target who's the most dangerous kid.
Yeah.
It's not the bully, it's the target. It's the target that one day snaps and brings a gun to school.
Yeah.
Right? So those are the kids I'm trying to focus on, without telling everybody, that, hey, the target is the most dangerous kid. Sometimes they bring guns to school. I can't say that to the kids.
No.
But, by working with both the kids who are bullying and the kids who are targeting, and changing their internal response using some of these tools, they don't have to act mean to each other, because they've just made themselves feel better.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. No, this is great. Thank you for sharing that. And can you believe we're almost at the end of our time? But I wanted to get you to share how the listeners and viewers can get a hold of you, because I found you on YouTube and I was doing a search on anxiety for a course that I was doing, and I thought, oh, I like his style, and I liked the way you were coming up with. I mean, even though I've done NLP, I was actually looking for NLP and anxiety. That's right. That's what I was looking for. And I just wanted to watch some videos and refresh my memory. And I came across yours, and I really liked the way you explained things. So please share your YouTube channel, your website, and anything that you have to offer.
Well, my main website is markshepard.com, markshepard.com. And that leads to all of my other websites. The other thing for your listeners or watchers, you might want to go to honesthypnosis.com. That's where I keep all my courses. And that's where you can kind of learn more about my hypnosis stuff. I've got a ton of different websites, but get on my email list. I send out an almost daily mind mastery message and transformation tune, because as a songwriter, a lot of these concepts have been getting into the lyrics. So literally my songs are now hypnosis sessions as well. And you listen to my songs, and that helps to change things. But I have a ton of different courses: Crush Anxiety Now, Crush Anxiety Forever, How to Stop Smoking, How to Lose Weight. And it's all about connecting our mind, our body, and our spirit, so that we can actually get results and be in charge of our results. So
there you have it. Yes.
Deal.
Yes. So thank you, Mark, for coming on the show today. Even though I have done NLP, I still always learn so much from my guests who come on. I always take away something.
Awesome.
And I wish for you, the listeners and viewers, to let me know what you thought about this episode. And please go to Mark's website. I'm also going to put that in the show notes as well, so you have access to that. And like always, Make resilience your first reflex.
That's right.
Thank
Well, that's
you.
worked out better than you could possibly imagine.
That's right. I love your attitude and energy. Okay, everyone, take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for listening to Thrive in Life with your hosts, Zaheen Nanji. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit ZaheenNanji.com. That's ZaheenNanji.com. We'll catch you on the next episode of Thrive in Life.